is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Faraday Future or show you this picture? Well, if I would have asked you 2 years ago, you probably were, full of this tingly feeling in your belly. We were very excited about, this new up-and-coming startup creating an exciting electric SUV that looks kind of futuristic. They presented at CES, which actually kind of set a trend for electric cars to be unveiled at CES, as you see in my reporting from January. But if I would have asked you this like a couple months ago, really, you would have kind of getting ready for the funeral of this company, because a lot of things have changed since then, right? Well, not so fast. There's some interesting news that's been going on with Faraday Future in the last few weeks, and yesterday they also had an interesting event. But let me kind of give you really fast recap of how we even got here, right? So yes, the company was formed a while back and had pretty good backing, and they came up with this prototype with a lot of really advanced at that time specs, and they had this big show at CES, and everybody really got behind it. I mean, everybody thought it was kind of a, another Tesla, another amazing startup coming out and doing this exciting things. And after that, little by little, things have kind of, the excitement, trickled down, and then we just started hearing some things that, they're not doing so well. Then we heard about all this staff inner fighting, and the people were leaving, and the executives were leaving, because a lot of their value was in their talent that they've accumulated, and they started to leave, including their head designer. That was actually one of their biggest sort of exciting things, because he came from a BMW. I believe he designed i8 and i3. Well, I don't give him much credit for i3 because I don't think it's a well-designed car, but okay, i8, and before that I believe he designed Aston Martin. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, he was pretty, he's up there, right? So he left, and then we started hearing all this stuff about their CEO. They call him YT for short, and that he's been kind of carelessly doing accounting with the company, shuffling money between his other company and this company, and just it was just a big mess. As a matter of fact, a lot of reports were coming out that in China he's sort of on a financial blacklist because he owes so much money to and has so much debt that he can't even buy a first-class ticket on an airplane. They wouldn't allow him to do that. So, all this craziness was going on, and really by the end of, last year, we really thought this company was just going to be dead. But, they're out of money, they're out of talent, so that was going to be the end of it. But there were reports coming out, and it looks like they're true, that an anonymous investor from China has invested, some people report $1 billion, but right now it's actually some people saying $1.5 billion into the company. And about a third of it is already been, injected as cash, and the rest of it was supposed to be released per milestones that the company has to meet, which is very common, though nobody knows what those milestones are, because this hasn't really even been confirmed or publicized or whatever. We don't know what the investor even is, but it does appear to be true. So Faraday Future is getting a second life, and yesterday early this week they've held a supplier summit, which is actually a big deal. I mean, I know it sounds really boring, and here's a picture of actually YT speaking at the summit in front of their suppliers at their headquarters. But this is actually a big deal because, they wouldn't be doing this unless they believe that they are ready to move forward to start, getting the production line ready, getting the supplies, because that's the first thing you do, right? You figure out where you're going to get the parts and where you're going to get suppliers and so forth. Istvan in the chat room says, will they change the company structure, or they will run it as was in the past? So the thing is, we don't know anything. It looks like, I'm going to assume because they kept the CEO, they're going to run it the same, unless the adults of the investors are going to come in and tell them how to do it and hold them to certain milestones and so forth. Then I really don't know. So far, it looks like there is no change. At least there are no reports. Everything is kind of in the dark right now, right? So anyway, nevertheless, I mean, first of all, suppliers showed up. That was another thing, right? And so this is the room. And by the way, they also presented the picture of what they believe some of their cars will look like in the future, which looks like they're also looking beyond FF91, the SUV. But it also means that they're starting to think about it and maybe even move forward with the production of this car. They believe they can start, get this going by the end of the year. Probably not, but still, these guys are actually might make it and might start making cars or get acquired or something like this. Definitely the amount of money they just received is ridiculous, right? $1.5 billion. So that's, I mean, I'll definitely keep you updated. Dirk, thank you so much for the super chat. I rarely get these, but thank you, I appreciate. Thank you for your daily good information, says Dirk. Drink a beer or a cup of coffee. I appreciate it. I actually don't drink alcohol, but I will definitely get a hot chocolate at Starbucks if you don't mind. So really appreciate the super chat, Dirk. And just so you know, I wanted to say thank you to all of the people who donate to the show, mainly through Patreon. I try to post some exclusive footage and some behind the scenes bloopers and stuff like that. So if you would like to support the show, you can always go there and sign up. And if you just want to support the show by giving this thumbs up, that usually makes this video go much further. And while we're at it, let me remind you that the show and the channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. If you want to have your own discount code, go ahead and dive into the description of this video and you'll have it so you can save a few bucks while you're shopping at Evanex. All right, let's move on to another story. And I will use this picture literally like every show if I can. But today I can because, as amazing as this Falcon Heavy launch was, and we're all still, feeling really excited about it and rewatching. I've rewatched the damn video, probably every other day. I'm going to admit this is just awesome. But, this is not the end. This is the beginning, right? So let's talk about the next mission that SpaceX has, which is actually in a few days, I believe on the 17th. And what they're going to be doing is very exciting. This is almost like another project that no one's talking about it, but they're going to be launching a couple of prototype satellites in space, and what they're going to be trying to do is to create a system that will provide a broadband internet to us here on Earth, who are still here, just didn't make it to Mars yet. And this is great. So they're just prototypes, but if it works, they're planning to on launching, I believe, 12 or 1300 of those and creating on their own network of internet. Now, it's not only exciting because maybe this is going to be a new step in internet technology, but most importantly, they might just use it themselves for Tesla. And this is, I believe, one of the downlinks, one of the links on Earth here that will be testing it is here in Fremont, California factory at Tesla facility. So, I mean, there's some people speculating it because it's one of them is in Fremont on a Tesla factory. I believe it's just because they have it, it's a sister company just to test it in different locations. The reason I believe it's going to be used for Tesla is because why not? They use the Tesla for SpaceX. Why not use SpaceX for Tesla? I mean, it makes sense. So I'm really excited because, this technology might just, give it yet another step in the right direction of how connected our cars can be, how connected Tesla can be. And, once you if you don't depend on cellular service, you can just get it from the satellites directly. We can be talking about a whole new game. So this is really, really exciting. All right, before we move on to the next story, I just want you to remind you that if you go back to the description of this video, you will find a link, my Tesla referral link, where you can submit your email address. And for that, we will be entered into a drawing to be able to go and drive the semi-truck. Just repeat, you don't need to buy a Tesla. You just need to submit your email address for a newsletter. And we both can go. And obviously, I'd love to report this for the community. Let's see. You guys are saying that Anton says, is it stop to buffer every 5 seconds for you, or is it only me? Let me know in the chat room, guys, if the stream is nice and smooth for you, if you're having any kind of trouble. I do see that's jumping back and forth for me. I actually have a Comcast coming out today to look into this because this is not the first time. So bear with me. All right, let's move on to the next story, and which is once again, China is beating us all in how innovative they can be with electric cars. And this is, as most countries who are friendly to electric vehicles, they are trying to, they have incentives. Now, because they have incentives, it is some people are, expecting that maybe they'll start going away, like in the United States here for Tesla. Those incentives have been going away, and it is actually what they did the opposite. They actually decided that they're going to up the incentives, but they're doing it pretty smartly right now. So what they're doing is they are going to raise the bar of how many, they're now basing it on mileage, how far an electric car can go. So it is what they're going to do is they're going to up the bar from 100 kilometers to 150 kilometers. So that's how many miles the car needs to go before the car is eligible to, the buyer is eligible to receive the money. And then on top of that, they're upping the incentive itself to $7,800 or $7,900 if your car goes more than 400 kilometers, which is more than about 250 miles. Now, I think this is pretty genius, because now not only you're forcing to you're being insensitized to get an electric car, but you're also getting insensitized to have a longer range electric car. So I think it's pretty smart, actually. So that's something they're doing, and I hope the rest of us follow. Again, another great idea. They're also giving a huge incentives to their bus system, which is very good already. They've invested a lot. Now the incentives are going to be growing for that as well. So it is definitely something I've never seen before, and kudos to them to not only keep their incentives, but also up it for companies like Byton. That's the reason I have a picture of Byton. There's also NIO and a few other companies that are making SUVs with a longer range. So that is something that again, I'm not sure, not too many people are talking about it, but this is a big deal, and I think a lot of people should follow this as well. All right, let's move on to the comment of the day. So I know the stream is a little choppy. Looks like it's just a connection thing. Sorry about that, guys. Just bear with me. But a comment of the day comes from Big Dream. Love the username. And we were talking about the Maine here, the state of Maine in the US, that are not only creating a fee that you're going to have to pay when you re-register your car with their DMV. Those fees are actually higher than what you would normally pay for the gas cars, because they're saying, well, we got to balance it out so electric car owners also pay for the roads and infrastructure, which sounds fair. Just not really sure if the timing is perfect, but that sounds fair. But on top of that, they're saying, hey, we also gonna charge them more because they're heavier cars. We talked about it yesterday, kind of a BS, because most cars on average are, much heavier with gas, like trucks and semis. But anyway, so this is what Big Dream says. These EV-only fees are nonsense. If they need to do this because of gas taxes not applying